The battle between Israel and Hamas militants in Gaza saw its deadliest day Sunday for both sides. 87 Palestinians died, at least 60 of them in Israel's assault on the town of Shaja'iyah, the Gaza Health Ministry said. The Israel Defense Forces said 13 soldiers were killed. At a news conference, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed the country's deep pain at the loss of the soldiers. In total, 425 Palestinians have been killed, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. It's unknown how many were militants. The United Nations has estimated that 70% were civilians. Since beginning ground operations Thursday, Israel said, it has killed at least 70 terrorists and captured others. We're doing everything we can not to harm the people of Gaza, Netanyahu added. Hamas is doing everything they can to make sure the people of Gaza suffer. But people in Gaza who spoke with CNN painted a different picture. What is happening is a massacre, said Inaz Sisai-Zalem of the Al-Rimal neighborhood. Hamas claimed responsibility for the deaths of the Israeli soldiers, saying it had lured tanks into a field in which it had hidden improvised explosive devices. The attack destroyed the force completely, Hamas said, calling it a heroic operation. In total, 18 Israeli soldiers have been killed, in addition to 2 civilians. Israel has used its Iron Dome defense system to block many missiles, fired by militants in Gaza, from hitting population centers. Also Sunday, an Israeli soldier was captured during an early morning operation, according to Abu Obaida, a spokesman for Hamas military wing, the Al-Qassam brigades. He provided the supposed soldier's name and ID. The Israel Defense Forces said it was aware of the report and looking into it. Dozens dead in Shaja'iyah. Hundreds of people fled in panic into Gaza City on Sunday as Israeli troops focused their firepower on nearby Shaja'iyah. Bodies lay in streets beside gashes blasted into apartment buildings, said people who had escaped the violence. Overnight, Hamas fired rockets from Shaja'iyah toward Israel. For 3 days, the IDF had warned residents of Shaja'iyah to flee, Israel said. Such warnings are delivered through calls and text messages as well as flyers that said it is the intention of the IDF to carry out aerial strikes against terror sites and operatives in the area. The flyers told people to head to Gaza City by Wednesday morning and not to return until further notice. The IDF posted an English translation of the flyers Sunday on Twitter. Some residents said they received the warnings but felt that even if they fled, they could face the same dangers in other parts of Gaza. But the IDF said Hamas ordered them to stay and put them in the line of fire. The IDF posted a photo Sunday on Twitter, saying, "We fired a warning shot at this target in Gaza." In response, these civilians ran to the roof and brought their kids. Hamas told CNN on Sunday that it would only agree to a ceasefire if it was guaranteed that certain demands would form the basis of negotiations. Itzhak Reshek, a senior Hamas political leader in Qatar, said the demands include opening the border crossings, freeing detainees Israel arrested in June, and opening the Gaza port. The militant group overnight turned down an invitation by Egypt to talk about a ceasefire initiative that Cairo had proposed. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry will soon travel to the region to push for a ceasefire, the White House said Sunday. U.S. President Barack Obama spoke Sunday with Netanyahu, the second call in 3 days. Obama reiterated U.S. condemnation of Hamas attacks against Israel and reaffirmed Israel's right to defend itself, the White House said in a statement. Obama also raised serious concern about the growing number of casualties, including increasing Palestinian civilian deaths in Gaza and the loss of Israeli soldiers. Speaking to CNN's State of the Union, Kerry said the United States supports Egypt's initiative for a ceasefire and will work for a fair ceasefire. The United States has shown our willingness to try to deal with the underlying issues, but Hamas must step up and show a level of reasonableness, he said. Israel is under siege by a terrorist organization that has seen fit to dig tunnels and come through those tunnels with handcuffs and tranquilizer drugs, prepared to try to capture Israeli citizens and take them back to hold them hostage. No country could sit by and not take steps to try to deal with people who are sending thousands of rockets your way, Kerry said. No country, no human being, is comfortable with children being killed, with people being killed. But we're not comfortable with Israeli soldiers being killed either, or with people being rocketed in Israel. Hamas uses civilians as shields, he said. They fire from a home and draw the fire into the home. Kerry comments caught on hot mic. Fawzi Baum, a spokesman for Hamas, said on Exa TV on Saturday that there would be no truce or surrender while Israel is attacking. Israel opens field hospital for Palestinians. Israel announced Sunday it would open a field hospital at the Erez crossing to treat injured Palestinians. On Saturday, the Defense Forces delivered truckloads of medical supplies to Gaza. Meanwhile, at Barzilai Hospital in Ashkelon, soldiers have been coming in with serious wounds from shrapnel and gunshots. The hospital treats soldiers and civilians, as well as injured Palestinians, although none were there Sunday. The hospital is frequently hit by rocket attacks from Gaza. It has emergency procedures in place, including moving its neonatal ward into a reinforced rocket shelter. Israel agreed to a 2-hour ceasefire Sunday, at the request of the Red Cross, to allow Palestinian emergency medical workers to tend to the wounded and dead in Shaja'iyah, the IDF said. Israel also announced it was extending its ceasefire, but said Hamas was not holding its fire. Hamas, meanwhile, said Israeli forces shelled Shaja'iyah after the ceasefire was declared. The IDF said it has held fire 3 times since beginning the operation in Gaza, but Hamas never stopped shooting rockets. Israel is still early on in the mission, IDF spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner said Sunday. You can't erase 10,000 rockets overnight, he said of Hamas' arsenal. The IDF is adding troops to the incursion. It called up tens of thousands of reservists at the start of Operation Protective Edge to prepare for the ground operations. Israel said it has struck 2,300 terror targets in Gaza and found 13 tunnels the militants use for smuggling weapons. Netanyahu, demilitarize Gaza. Netanyahu called on